Welcome back to Senior Scene on your hometown station, 1430 WNAV. I'm Joshua Killian, social media producer with the Anne Arundel County Department of Aging and Disabilities, and today my guest is Melissa Williams, Director of Planning and Program Development at the Maryland Transportation Authority. Welcome to Senior Scene, Melissa.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you for having me.
Well, absolutely, we're glad to have you. Well, let's just dive right into the topic at hand. Can you tell us about the Bay Crossing study and its significance for our community, particularly for our seniors?
Sure. As you know, the Bay Crossing plays a huge role in Maryland's regional transportation system and its critical connections from the eastern and western shores. As we all know, we've got a lot of traffic at that location, and this traffic can limit mobility for people across the Bay, and this impacts everyone, including our seniors. We have concerns about negative impacts for our residents, for emergency responders, as well as impacts to businesses on both the eastern and the western shores. So realizing that something needed to be done, MDTA kicked off the Chesapeake Bay Crossing Study Tier 2 National Environmental Policy Act study, which we just call the Tier 2 study, in June of last year. And what we are doing in this study is looking at improving travel reliability, improving mobility and safety across the Bay Bridge.
That certainly sounds like it could be a promising development. Can you tell us how the Bay Crossing study can address specific needs of seniors in terms of transportation?
Sure. As I said, mobility for our senior community is absolutely a critical part of transportation across the bridge. Way that we are approaching the project is looking at equity, both during the process as well as with the outcomes of the project. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that we're doing our best to ensure that we're engaging all of the communities that are that use the Bay Bridge, that live near the Bay Bridge, that the movement across the Bay will impact. And we don't want to just include those folks in our end product. We want to include them in the actual process itself so that their input, their information, their opinions, their thoughts will inform the study as it moves forward throughout the entire process.
And are there any plans to maybe incorporate pedestrian or cycling infrastructure into the new design of the Bay Bridge that can help accommodate some of our more active seniors?
I'm happy you asked that question. We are very interested in transit, bicycle, pedestrian accommodations at the Bay. And we just held a virtual transit and bicycle pedestrian listening meeting on June 27th. The recording of that meeting is available online at baycrossingstudy.com. Under previous meetings, you can find that recording. Basically, at that meeting, we gave a brief description of transit currently in the study area, as well as bicycle and pedestrian accommodations currently in the study area. Keep in mind, we don't have bicycle pedestrian accommodations at the existing bridge, but there are several trail networks on both shores. At that point, once we gave a little bit of a presentation, we turned the meeting over and we asked some survey questions, which I thought were very interesting. Basically, we wanted to know, do you think it's a good idea to have bicycle pedestrian accommodations across the bridge? Would you use them if they were there? Why would you use it? Would you use it for getting to work, for recreation, for shopping? Why would you use it? And overwhelmingly, the input that we received stated that folks really thought it would be a great idea to have bicycle pedestrian accommodations across the Bay for leisure and for recreational purposes. So as we move forward with the study, we will continue to look at the possibility of providing bicycle and pedestrian accommodations.
Well, that's fantastic. For any of our older adults or individuals in the community who still might have some more questions or maybe want some more information about the Bay Crossing study, where's the best place for them to go to get reliable resources or contact the Office of Planning and Program Development?
Sure. As I said, key part of the project is getting input from our stakeholders during the process to best inform the outcome of the process. We have a website, which is baycrossingstudy.com. You can find all the information about past, current, future opportunities to be involved and to get educated about the project. If you don't want to use the web, you can send an email to info@baycrossing.com. And if you don't want to do that, you can call us on the phone at 667-203-5408. And 24 hours a day, we would be happy to hear your comments and listen to your input.
Well, lastly, could you tell us what the one thing is that you'd like our listeners to take away from our talk together today?
Well, I think we all know and we all agree that there are congestion issues at the Bay Bridge that need to be addressed. We're all on the same page there. The takeaway that I would want folks to take from this discussion is that we want to hear from you. We want this to be an equitable process where we are informed what people want, what people need. For our senior citizens, we're interested in where do you want to go? Where do you need to be able to get to? How can we make your travel easier? How can we improve mobility for you?
Well, Melissa, I just want to take a second and thank you so much for coming on the show today to help older adults in our community find their voice for transportation equity in their community.
Thank you, Josh.
If you have any questions about today's show, or if you're interested in any of our programs, please feel free to contact the Department of Aging Disabilities at 410-222-4257, or visit us online. We also encourage everyone to register for our Senior Activity Center programming, which can be found on our website, aacounty.org/senior-center. Please remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AACO-DOAD, and our YouTube channel at Arundel Seniors. You can catch Senior Scene first, only on 1430 WNAV, but remember to tune into full episodes on our YouTube channel at Arundel Seniors on Thursdays at 10 a.m. This has been Joshua Killian, social media producer with the Anne Arundel County Department of Aging and Disabilities. You've been listening to Senior Scene on your hometown station, 1430 WNAV.